Thanks, Anna. Thanks. I don't know why when I switch scenes it keeps the same settings. Don't appreciate that. Anyway, let's restart. Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you're doing well, Anna. We've got a fun one today. I was just talking about how my garden has finally gotten some rain. My plants have enjoyed that. I have some under a little shelter though, and they did not get as much rain. So they're probably a little jealous of my window boxes that just get like straight poured on. So a little bummer there, but fun stream for us today. We are going to be creating a tier list ranking different Caribbean coral species. This is just going to be something fun. There's no objectivity to this whatsoever. I am not promoting super corals or anything of that nature. This is just a fun little discussion where we can be judgmental on looks and how to pronunciations of scientific names. Ease of care. How easy are they to care for in nurseries? Which I don't know a ton about all these species. I haven't had to take care a lot of them myself, but I hear things. So probably a little less on that. And then finally, maybe even some ecological importance. Of course, they're all ecologically important. They all fulfill an important role in the coral reef ecosystem. But maybe we'll talk a little bit about why we focus on certain species rather than others. Dive into that a little bit. So without further ado, let's just get going on that. So a little bit of background, how I set this list up is I took the list of coral species from Florida Fish and Wildlife's Disturbance Response Monitoring Program, or DRM surveys. This is a common ecosystem monitoring survey. It's done annually down in the Florida Keys and just all along the Florida Coral Reef Tract, including the dry tortugas. I did one of these DRM surveys in the tortugas 2 years ago. I was hoping to go last year as well, but I had to, defend my dissertation. That was kind of important. It's kind of the whole point of all of this. So yeah, I missed going last year. That's a bummer. I hope to go again here. So I pulled all the species lists, or I pulled the species list from the DRM surveys, and we're gonna go through each of these in order. I have them all set up on the right here. We'll look at some of the photos, some of the characteristics that they list to differentiate the species, and we'll just go from there. So let's have some fun with this. Our first species is going to be MCAV, Montastria cavernosa. This is, they're all going to be gorgeous in their own way, but we're starting off with one of the superstars of the reef. These are heavily monitored, part of the disturbance response monitoring program, including their juveniles. So not all of the juvenile MCAVs, or not all of the coral species are monitored in the juvenile stage. MCAV is one of them, which is super fun because their juvenile stage is adorable because we get these huge bulbous polyps, and you get like a little cluster of like 1 to 3, and the juveniles are usually like this fluorescent orange that stands out really nicely against the blue water, makes it easier to find, and it's just really cool. But you can see there are all different like color schemes for MCAV. Like there are these browns, these kind of greens. This one's a little bit of a pale one, which is unfortunate. I've seen them bleach. That's really sad to see. Because it's so important to the DRM survey, it's important because you can see it forms these huge mounding structures. really important to the reef. They can be fairly sensitive though. Like I said, I've seen them bleach. So because of their importance to these surveys, they're really bulbous, almost like stereotypical coral vibe. We're gonna start off, we'll start off with an A tier. Just like our last tier list, I'm not gonna try and crazy load up S and A. We'll have to be pretty intense. We'll have to be very deliberate, scrutinizing each of these species. We've got like 44 to get through. And I've got until 2:30 to do this, so we do need to make some progress. So we'll start off MCAV in the A tier. We're gonna follow it up with other mountain corals, the Orbicella group, formerly Montastria. So we've got OAN, we've got OFAV, and we've got O. franksii, or OFRA. Annularis, Faviolata, and franksii. These you'll see pretty commonly out on the reef. They form a lot of the big mounding structures, so they kind of stand out. Usually this brownish, gold, slightly green, sometimes groups. First species of this one, OAN, Orbicella annularis. You'll find these kind of a lot on the top part of reefs. They kind of, they're all reaching for the sun, but you'll see them for these like broken up mounds, or as they describe them, colonies subdivide. So you have this like overall mound, but you'll see like little pockets, little grooves form in here. Kind of gives each one a unique shape. These weird like lobes. But they're pretty prominent structures. And they persist pretty well. The thing about like almost all of the Orbicellas, they are like sensitive to thermal stress, but they're also pretty robust. They're like the very reliable friend. So let's stick OAN in the B tier for now. Very reliable, very sturdy. Not always the most stunning, but something you can rely on. We like the Orbicellas. And it's a similar thing with like Faviolata. The difference between Faviolata and Annularis is you get like this continuous shape. Instead of this like broken up mounds that'll form this like one huge curtain or mound with these ridges in it. Very similarly, it's pretty reliable. You'll see a lot of these. I'm gonna stick that one in B tier as well. Then we've got OFRA, Orbicella franksii. Looks pretty similar to our Faviolata. It can be sometimes hard to tell the difference in the field, but you'll usually see with franksii like these white unpigmented splotches on franksii. It doesn't mean they're bleaching, like this is a normal growth pattern for franksii. And much more irregular lobes. Like Faviolata, this very uniform lines or ridges. franksii, it's kind of irregular. Your friend Frank might be a bit irregular, might be a bit odd. Still, fairly reliable, good old Orbicella. But we're gonna be a little harsh here, franksii, because of its splotchiness and irregular bumps. We're gonna put it in C tier. That doesn't mean that beauty is everything. Or it's gonna be, for at this point, at this stage in the tier list, looks matter. Okay. That does it for our Orbicella groups. Some more amazing photos. But all right, next up on the list, Stephanocynia intercepta, aka the blushing star coral. I feel like I'm gonna be a little harsh on these ones. I don't know. There's multiple things here. Stephanocynia, really cool name to say. Also really hard. I got it wrong for about a year. Called it like Stephanoconia, and then someone quickly corrected me, thankfully. Stephanicinia, like cerulean. Its common name is super cool too, blushing star coral, because they get these. The polyps will form like this blushing color, almost this pinkish. Um, this photo here, like they can get kind of big, but honestly, despite its awesome names, I'm kind of meh on them. I'm gonna stick Stephanicinia. We're gonna put it in D tier. Another reason I'm putting it in D tier, when you're doing these DRM surveys, you can find Stephanicinia colonies really small, especially after disturbances, hurricanes. It'll fracture them apart. And so you'll end up with all these tiny little colonies, and that's great. It means they're recovering. It also means when you have to like count each individual coral colony that you see, it gets aggravating when you have like an area of like 1 square meter and you've got several Stephanicinias that are like this big that you have to record each one. Even though they're probably the same gene, especially like, down there, they're probably the same genotype. They're probably the same genotype. And you're like, I know this was the same coral. At some point, it no longer is, and now I have to count it individually. I see you, Anna, D tier. It is a beautiful name. It is a beautiful name. We should have justice for the blushing star coral. We might rethink this later. But when you're down on a transect line, you've only got a certain amount of time to count all the corals on that transect line. And when you've got several tiny colonies that you have to count, even though you know they're the same genotype probably, it can get annoying. You have to measure each one. And I know this goes in like complete contrast to my seahorse story from a few weeks ago when I had to sit in one spot and count a bunch of seahorses and I didn't move for 45 minutes. That's a little different because those surveys I was in like 5 feet of water. So I had infinite air almost. I was barely using any of the air in my scuba tank. The DRM surveys are a bit deeper meaning, past 30 feet. So you do have a limited amount of time, both for air and nitrogen levels. So yeah, that's why we're putting it Stephanicinia there mainly. Okay. Next up, Solanastria vernoni, or S-boo, as we like to call it. S-boo. Another fun name. I like saying S-boo. This looks very similar to our Stephanicinia. These kind of like smaller corals, almost like this dimpled pockets here. I never saw a ton of these. Sometimes it can be hard to tell with Orbicella too. You get these mounding structures that looks a little similar. You really have to look for S-boo. Polyps are kind of cute, kind of fuzzy, but a lot of the time you see them kind of retracted. I'm gonna put S-boo in D tier as well. I'm gonna be a little mean here. All right. Then we've got Solanastria hyades, or Shia. I don't remember ever seeing this species when I did these. And now I'm worrying, because I know I saw colonies like this too. Starting to worry if I misidentified them. I don't even remember reviewing this during the DRM training. looks very similar to Stephanicinia. Almost like the blushing around the edge of the polyp. Especially this photo, it looks like it. Ooh, I kind of like how it branches up a little. It's like kind of mounding, kind of branching. Let's put that in C tier. Okay, and I can hear you right now, Anna. If I'm putting Solanastria and it looks like Stephanicinia, what's the difference? We can move Stephanicinia to C tier. I hope that makes you happy. Okay, dude. And all of these got shuffled on the right. I had them in the same order as these slides, and now they're not. Like, April is not until like the bottom. That's annoying. But let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. This one's gonna be tough. This one's gonna be tough. You're welcome, Anna. You're welcome. Siderastria siderea. S-Sid. These guys are like indestructible. I feel like if there's one hard coral that's gonna make it, it's gonna be S-Sid. I've seen them bleached. I've seen them diseased. I've seen them with scrape marks from parrotfish and other corallivores. And they just keep going. They just keep going. And they can form these huge mounding structures, like these huge balls, like giant beach balls. And though they sometimes look like a really messed up cantaloupe, they're just going to keep going. So I'm going to do something, despite their not always great appearance. We're going to give them A tier for now. They'll go B tier with the Orbicellas. Reliable, not super pretty, but by gosh, they're going to make it. They're going to make it. I have faith in Siderastria. Although, yeah, another reason why they shouldn't be A tier is because they had the same issue as Stephanicinia, where you will get tons of fractured colonies, all these little babies around the same spot, and you have to count all of them. Or you'll get all these mounting structures. Like I said, they persist. So when you go do these surveys, all you're writing on your data sheets is S-Sid, 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 over and over and over again. So yeah, that's why they'll stick with B tier. And then we'll go to its relative, Siderastria radians. I do remember seeing a lot of these guys too. Same problem. There can be millions of them. And I really struggled. Oh, you still see Espu. Oh, wait, we did Espu a while ago. You're kidding me. Let me refresh this. Hold on. Stare at my face. Let's try this. No. Hang on. Hang on. There we go. Wow. Okay, thanks for the heads up. I'll keep an eye on that. I'll keep an eye on that. So there was our Espu. The ones we did since Espu. Oh, we weren't that far behind. Okay, Siderastria. What I was talking about, like huge cantaloupe. You can see him bleached, you can see him diseased, you can see him merging, you can see him do all sorts of things that don't always make him look super pretty. But they're gonna hold on for a long time. There also were so many the last DRM survey I did, it got annoying writing S-Sid over and over and over again. So we stuck them in B tier. So we stuck them in B tier. Then we went to Siderastria radians. So we're not that far behind, but I'll keep an eye on that. Siderastria radians looks very similar to Sid. Here you can see them side by side. You see radians usually is like a little paler. The septa are a little more pronounced. But and they usually form like these encrusting plates. They don't really dome or form that cantaloupe shape, as you see with Sid, with Siderastria. Um, there can be millions of these guys too, and it can be tough to tell the difference. So Radians is going C tier. Yep, yep. All right, how we doing? We still got a lot of species to go. Phalangia americana. I don't necessarily have an opinion of these because I don't think I've seen them in the wild. Probably because I'm not typically looking for them because they form these single polyps. And they're under edges. I'm not always looking. When you're running a transect, sometimes can be tricky to get there. Mm, but I'm kind of digging like these super pronounced septa and these huge fleshy tentacles. Kind of neat. I don't remember. I don't even remember training on this species. Probably because I didn't see them that much. I don't know. Cool name though. Phalangia. And acronym PAME. We'll stick you in C tier for now, Phalangia. You're kind of neat. You're kind of neat. All right. Eusmilia fastigiata, EFAS, flower corals. I'm going to put some personal bias on this one. This whole thing is biased anyway. It's fine. They're going to get a pretty high rank because they form these like cute bouquets of flowers. They've got this interrupted tissue, like these, as they phrased it, stalked corallites, only alive at the tips. So the tissue in between them is like not alive. You can see the gaps here. Um, and because they have a really cool way to remember them. Eusmilia fastigiata is a flower coral. You smell the flower coral. Oh, it did freeze again. Thanks, Anna. Sorry. I don't know why this is being so difficult. Ugh. This is ruining the fun. Yes, you're right. It did freeze again. It is ruining the fun that it keeps doing that. I don't know why. So where did we leave off of? Still in Phalangia. So Eusmilia fastigiata, smooth flower coral, and you smell the flowers. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna give them just on like name alone, and they're pretty cool, like these stalked polyps. Let's give them, I'm thinking A or B. We'll give them B for now. I want I want this tier list to be a little more bell curve shaped than our last stream. Why not S? Um, because I don't want them in S tier. They are pretty and they have a nice name. There is one species in particular that I know is going to get an S tier because it has a great story, looks, cool name. Okay, I'll at least be convinced to put them in A tier. I can do that because I don't want them in S tier, but I like when I find them. Okay, I'm scrolling the screen. It looks like it is staying updated. So we'll keep this going. Dichocenia stickesii, or Disto. Kind of a funky name. Not as great as Eusmelia, but Dichocenia is kind of a cool name. And they're kind of a cool coral. They form these like dome structures or these long, like irregular mounds. And each of their polyps, if we go like way zoom in, like each one is kind of unique. They're like not uniform shaped. And look at all this tissue connecting them. They're so fleshy. Here they're even like longer. They're wild. And I love the orange color. It's very bold. Dichocenia, I'm going to give them an A tier. They get an A tier as well. You don't see them as often as the Orbicellas, especially. That'll be the differentiation between those two. Okay. Favia fragum, or Ephra. Ephra. Tiny little golf balls. Very similar in look to Disto. Those kind of irregular shapes, somewhat ball. They describe them as having serrated teeth, and if we zoom in on that one too, you can see they kind of look like serrated teeth. Kind of neat. Um, I don't recall seeing a lot of these. I don't have anything against them though. I think they're gonna get a D tier. They don't have that nice orange color that Disto has either. Although their babies are kind of cute. Hmm, it's okay. It's okay. This one I don't include. Palithoa. It's not a coral. We're just gonna keep going. Can you keep going? Excuse me. Okie dokie. Not Meandrina meandrites or Emia or Mia. Mamma Mia. I know. I think I had a friend call them the Mamma Mia coral. I these guys. Oh, this was really sad when I was doing the DRM surveys in 2024. These guys in the Tortugas got wiped out by scleractinian coral tissue loss disease, Skittle D. Um, it took us a very long time to find them, like several days, and the colonies we did find were very, very small. So they were starting to rebound, which is good. Like there's hope. Like we did find them, they're okay. It was really sad, but there's hope. I personally love these corals because their color is kind of hard to. It's this gold, but kind of green. Sometimes they'll look like white, but not bleached white, not like this ruler here. And they have this zipper shape that kind of meanders. So Emia, meandrina, meanders. Looks like the zipper meandering. So because of their story, my preference in how they look and their name, they're gonna get an A tier. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting for this one. Dendrogyra cylindris. D seal. These are pillar corals. These guys were also. Hey Gabe, how you doing, buddy? Glad you could make it in. We're just going through coral species right now. So we're ranking them. It's a ton of fun. If you want to learn more about corals and my personal bias on certain species, welcome to the place. And you got to one of my favorites, so you hopped in right at my favorite point. Dendrogyra cylindris, pillar corals. These guys, they got wiped out by Skittle-D, scleractinian coral tissue loss disease, several years ago. It ravaged them in the Caribbean. When I was doing one of my PhD chapters in Roatan. Oh, sorry, Anna. Oh, thank you. I hate that you have to be my IT person here. I'm going to have to pay you for that. I'm going to have to pay you for that. Restart. Here we go. Take 3, I think. Dendrogyra cylindris, pillar coral, wiped out by Skittle-D several years ago. I'm just seeing it finally return. I'm seeing people post more and more that they're finding colonies, which is super exciting to see. Because when I was in Roatan in 2023, we didn't find any alive colonies. People are finding them there now, I think. I think I saw Roatan Marine Park post that they found them alive, which is super cool because they are these huge pillars, like several feet tall, and they look like shag carpeting. So their polyps are and their tentacles are always out in the water column grabbing food. So they're just these giant bushy corals like all the time. Beautiful. And what's really fun when you're diving is you can spot them from a really far distance away because they are pillar corals. They're reaching up into the water column. So you're like, let's go over there. There's a pillar coral. Makes it super fun. Makes it super fun. Um, yeah. So between their really fuzzy nature, really cool name, Dendrogyra cylindris. It almost sounds like a Harry Potter spell. And their story, like, had a pretty tragic story. They are my S tier coral. I really doubt we'll get any argument from anyone in the field on that. It's one of the faves. I want to spend more time on this one, but we've got a lot more corals to get through. And I have about an hour to do it. Next up, we have Copophilia natans, or CNAT. Another one of our mounding or boulder corals. They form these huge domes. If you give them enough time, they make these huge domes. Somesh, join back just in time for the pillars. Yes. Okay. I'm sure you've seen these guys enough. You probably do you take care of them? Do you have any in your aquaria? I'm sure you will agree with me that they belong in S tier. Hope to hear his input. Okay. So Copophilia natans, CNAT. Huge domes, you give them enough time. They they've struggled a little bit. Yeah, so much agrees. Awesome. Yeah, I figured no one would disagree with that being an S tier. Um, what's cool about seeing around 12? You have 12. That's awesome. Isn't it their spawning season like right now? Higher than S tier. Yes. I can see that. I wish we could give them their own. Maybe if I get rid of F, because I really don't think I'm going to give anyone an F tier. Super, super special. Yeah, let's do that. We'll give it its own. We'll give it its own tier. Boom. And let's see if we can make it the same color too. Oh, it's D-Lab right now. Yeah, I saw some videos of D-Lab spawn. That's super cool. Oh, Diesel isn't until August, isn't it? I was totally wrong. This is close enough color. Oh, but it looks really similar to A. Mm, maybe a yellowish. I don't know. It's fine. Can blushing star coral be an S tier now? No. No, it can't. Diesel is in August. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, I mean, I originally thought it was now, but I think I'm mixing up D-Lab. I saw both videos of D-Lab spawn and D-Seal just in general alive recently. Only Flack is actively spawning them. Okay, Florida Aquarium actively spawning them. Yeah. I don't know. You would definitely know more about that than me. I remember several years ago I went to a cylindrous spawning. They didn't end up spawning, so I spent several nights watching them do nothing. But still, they're pretty at night, so it's okay. Anna's outraged that we're not putting Stephanicinia higher than C tier. Remember, remember, Anna, they're a pain in the butt to survey sometimes. That's one of the reasons it's down there. It's a pain in the butt. But we can move. I would be happy to move Eusmilia. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, I think I might keep it there. We haven't even gotten to the acroporids yet. In the field, yeah. So we were talking before about doing DRM surveys, which is how we got this list of coral species. And Stephanicinia was they were really small in the field, and there were a lot of them scattered, and they also look similar to Siderastria, which makes it a little annoying to catalog them on transect lines. So we gave it, despite having a really cool name and a really cool name and a coolish color, I kept them pretty low. But okay, now let's do some adjusting. Now that S tier is a little more open, I want to move. Which ones do I want S tier? We'll put. I'm going to move Mandrina up because they had a tragic story too. Dichosenia kind of does too. You don't see a ton of them. They got hit pretty hard. But it's also the same color as A. And I'm going to move the Orbicellas up. All of them up one level. Because they're ecologically significant enough, we have to elevate them. They're so reliable too. And fairly good in the nurseries. We'll keep them there. It's kind of weird. I'm almost keeping them from at the Orbicellas from S tier because they're so reliable. Like you're reliable. It sounds terrible. Like you should be more grateful of your reliable groups. But there's almost like a cost to it too. I can get behind Disto in S tier. Okay. That means we'll move EFAS up there too. And for the heck of it, let's be nice to the Orbicellas. They kind of carry the Caribbean to some degree. They're kind of a big deal. Any others I want to adjust? Siderastria, okay, is the true B tier. That is really like the true B tier. Okay, let me make sure my screen's working. And it's not. See, I checked this time before I moved on, Anna. I really don't know why this isn't working nicely today. So back to CNAT. What's cool about copophilia is that they normally have like two color tones to them. And you can see that in this photo. Like the ridges are these nice deep gold slash brown. And then inside is like this vibrant green. And that's really common. And you can see there are tons of different morphs as well. Like colors vary. This is a little bit of a deeper, more natural tone. Or you can even get some that are like this bluish or purpley kind of color. So they are like the fashion stars, kind of the Caribbean corals. I'd say you don't see a lot of two tones like this. And okay, not true. Blushing star coral, I guess you could consider as two tone. I'll give you that one. And Stephanicinia is also beautiful, but just still kind of annoying. Uh, so this one's kind of tricky for me to pinpoint. I'm between A and B on this. They're pretty, like, they're huge mounding structures too, so they're important for reef structure. We'll give them an A tier. We'll give them an A tier. I'm not sold on that one. I'm not sold on it. But we'll leave it there for now. And I don't think it ever showed my zoomed in ones. Boop, boop. Hang on, guys. I need to figure out why this isn't working. Whoop. Didn't mean to show that. Okay. We'll give that. We'll try that. We'll try that out. Okay, moving on. Manacina areolata or mare. Or mare. I don't know if I've ever seen this in the wild. To my knowledge, I've probably seen it and misidentified it. Or just didn't recognize it. Pretty cool. I can't remember its common name. Whoop. Rose coral. I'm like, I know it's something that's supposed to be considered pretty. Considered the rose coral. Probably because of the color. It's reddish color. I don't know much about this one, actually. Kind of looks like a cross between, I mean, they even say it down here. It looks kind of like CNAT. Another pretty two-toned coral, but not as neat as Copophilia. I'm going to give this one a D tier, which Anna's going to be mad at me for. The blushing star coral, the rose coral, and I'm giving them awful ranks. All right, now to the coral of the hour, Diploria labyrinthiformes, or D-Lab. They are the coral of the hour because, as we were just talking about, they are spawning right now. There are tons of groups getting them to spawn, which is awesome. Get some spawning studies, get some crosses going, get some new larvae into nurseries or out onto the reef. So they're super awesome. They get their name labyrinth because they have these really nice grooves found in them. This is probably the best photo to see it. I mean, this one's the most up close, but if you get a whole landscape of it, so you have this dome. In essence, this is like the brain coral of the brain coral. They have these nice grooves all throughout, all throughout. They typically don't, I haven't seen any get super, super huge, but they can get decent, some decent dome shapes. Pretty reliable. They hold on pretty well. And they do okay and they do fine in nurseries. So we're gonna give them a high ranking. Um I'm gonna give them a B tier for now. They're fun to see. They're not thrilling all the time. No offense, D-Lab. I love you. I really do. But we need some more B tiers now. We can always readjust as well. Continuing. All right. More of our brain corals. Pseudodiploria strigosa. This is the first coral I had to do a report on in college. Pretty easy. And it was the whole class was presenting on different species of corals. It was a coral reef ecology class. And so we had everyone. Someone did Clivosa, someone did Strigosa, and someone did Labyrinthiformis. And I was the last one to present. And I was the only, tooting my own horn here, I was the only person that knew the difference between the three. Like, why? It usually comes down to their ridge patterning. So Labyrinthiformis, you get these nice deep grooves. Strigosa, it's like one solid hump. So you can see it's like one contiguous line rather than having these ridges in the middle. So not to brag or anything. Strigosa is super cool too. Another like, it's the brain corals. It's the brain corals. Where did Strigosa? Oh, it's over here. We'll throw that in B tier as well. Hmm. These could be controversial. I don't know. Then we've got Pseudodiploria clivosa or Pickley. Peakley for short. And it didn't refresh. Hang on, hang on. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. I'm fixing it. There we go. Pseudodiploria clivosa. Pickley. There we go. Look, is can be confused with Strigosa sometimes when you see like these two mounds, this one and this one. They can be hard to tell apart sometimes, but Pickley often forms like these knotted protrusions from the main hump, I guess. And yeah, they do often get infested with Christmas tree worms. So you'll often see them dimpled with Christmas tree worms as well. This kind of gives them cool. So between their cool name, their knobby structure, and that you always find them with, I feel bad. I was gonna put an A tier, but I almost feel bad for separating it from the other Diplorias. I'll take thoughts on that one. A or B? Woo. Let me know if anyone disapproves of that one as we continue scrolling. All right, next group, we've got our cactus corals, Mycetophilia. I will be honest. I struggle to tell the difference between these in the field. I'm really bad with it. Thankfully, they're not super, super common. It's not like you see them as often as you do with Ciderastria, but you see them. You see them enough where I should be able to tell the difference a lot easier than I do. So first one is Alicia or Molly. I always liked this one because of its name. And I think it was the one I was able to tell apart the most because they have these white spots that form on the top. That made it way easier to identify. Way easier. Because of that, cool name, cool colors, and being able to identify pretty easily, that one will give an S tier. I stand by that one pretty firmly. Then we should have two more. Mesitophilia ferox, Emphor, and then we'll have Lamarckiana. These two, yeah, these were the ones I struggled to tell apart in the field. Do we have like a different, when we see FWC even spent some time making slides for you to tell the difference between Molly, Ferox, and Lamarckiana. Again, Molly shows that like white patternation. Super, super great. Emphor and Emlam, a little harder to tell. I think the biggest thing it was Emphor has those raised core lights, so you get these knobs, which Emlam does not have as pronounced. But it's not always that clear when you're in the field. If you've done any amount of scuba diving, you know your brain is a little different underwater. And it doesn't always look as clear or stark. You'll get like a colony where it'll look somewhere in between the two. Like, oh, the coral lights are slightly raised, but not enough to be obviously Ferox. So it made it kind of annoying between those two. So I think for Emphor and Emlam, we're going to stick them in B tier. Again, pretty to see. I like seeing them. Cool name. Cactus corals are great. Um, but because their identification is not as fun to do, we'll stick them in B. Okay, now for a unique one. Scalemia. Scalemia cubensis, or scub, S-cub. This is one of like our individual corals. You don't see them forming colonies like this. You'll get this one giant blob. And they're like decent sized too. They get pretty big. Oh, especially, oh, I forgot. Um, the other Scalemia. Yeah, they're huge. They can get really, really big. 6 centimeters in diameter, really blobby. Because of their unique lifestyle, fun name, Scalemia. Sorry, I just got a very weird email. Okay, I'll have to check that out. That's pretty urgent, but we'll continue with this for now. Um, they're cool. You don't see them super commonly, but I'm gonna mark them down a little bit. I think because of their ecological. They're not super reforming. I could be wrong. So we're gonna stick them. I think we'll probably put them in C tier. hang on, folks. I gotta read this email really quick. I'm very confused by it. Not to you guys. This is private. Oh, oh, okay. There's nothing I can do about it. Cool. Fantastic. We'll keep going. I feel better now. Next up, Musa angulosa, Mang. Almost looks like a colonial version of Scalemia. Again, it's like as if Scalemia and Mycetophilia like had a baby together. Uh Sometimes find these. I don't find them super often. I think we're gonna put it with Scalemia. C tier. Fun to find. Not super reef builders though. Then we've got Isophilia sinuosa. I rarely found this. Or I misidentified it because it looks very similar to Mycetophilia. Probably fairly related. Don't see as great of a color variation with these guys, rigida or sinuosa. So they'll probably go with the Mycetophilias in B tier. Let's look at the comparison though between Isophilia, Mycetophilia, and the rose coral as well. Manacina. Oh no, okay, the screen has not updated. Great. We're way down. We're way down this. Where did we leave? Oh my god. We were all the way up here. Had me talking with the screen not updating. That's great. So we went through all of Scalemia. These huge blob corals. Huge. 6 to 7 centimeters across. Here it is compared to like a blushing star coral, where each of those polka dots is a polyp. Meanwhile, this one polyp is the size of like a whole colony. We ended up putting Scalemia into C tier. You don't find them super often. And then they're not your main reef builders. So, still important, don't get me wrong, but they're not your super reef builders. Then we got to Musa angulosa, essentially like I was describing it as Mycetophilia and Scalemia had a love child together. I think I put in the same, yeah, I put in the same C tier. And then we were on Isophilia. Kind of looks like Mycetophilia. Colorations are not as vibrant, but we were comparing them to Manacina and Mycetophilia all together at one point here. I think I'm going to put it with the same. Isophilia is going to go in C tier. Oh, I see what's happening. For some reason, anytime I actually go to drag over a species, I lose. That's when it doesn't work anymore. That's bizarre. I wonder if I can find something on Reddit to work to fix that. Okay. Anywho, all right, there we go. Okay. Ooh, this is going to throw a wrench into things. This is going to make it interesting. The Agariceas. We've got 3 Agaricea species. This is going to shake up the B and C tier a lot. So our first one, Agaricea agaricides. Aga, if you will. Um, these are kind of a weedy species in the Caribbean. They've held on pretty well and they've filled in some of the spots like where acroporids have died off. So that's kind of cool. It's like a good thing because there are corals on the reef, but they are like taking up space for the agariceas, or not the agariceas, the acroporids that we're trying to like replant on the reefs. So I don't know, mixed feelings with the agariciids. They have a cool shape. They're called lettuce corals, or at least tenuifolia is. And they've got these nice little ridges. Color is usually like a green to this tan-ish color, which is probably, but it's not, and you'll see a lot of fishes interacting with them. Like you can even see in this photo here. No, you can't. No, you can't. You can't see that. I didn't even do anything. There we go. You can see some fish interacting with them. Damselfish seem to love them. But not always the most thrilling to see. So I think what we're going to do, Agaricea is going to make its way into C tier. Oh, that's D tier. Or do they belong in D tier? No, because they were helping, they were at least taking the place of algae on the reef. And then I think just based on looks, let's move the Isophilia up to B tier. Because they look rather similar to my Cetophilia. I might be overcomplicating this. Then we've got our other Agaricea, Tenuifolia. These were the super weedy ones. Honestly, I find these more than I do, I think, Agaricea agaricides. You'll find them, yeah, kind of taking the place of corals that have already died off in the past, which is good in a way. It's taking, at least it's out competing algae potentially, but still it's taking up a lot of space that could be used by like orbicelids or acroporids. So I'm going to do something weird. They're a little more cool to see than agaricides. So I think we're going to give Tenuifolia a B tier. Kind of a weird workaround. And then Agaricea humilis. This one looks like agaricides, but it had these like white patches. And you usually find, yeah, are these the one you find under ridges? I don't know. I find it kind of, it's tough to say. That one's going to go D tier. Meh. And then the last one, Agaricea lamarcki. Again, kind of like Agaricea, even they have a comparison, Agaricides versus Alam. Lamarcki has these like the polyps are kind of these white spots, bright white spots, and you find them along. Yeah, they're kind of cool to see. I actually like running into them, and you can identify them fairly easily. So we'll stick you up in B tier with where did I put you? Tenuifolia. Yeah. I feel like it's getting messy. Maybe 44 coral species was a little aggressive. I've got 20 minutes. Okay, we're almost there. We're almost there. Oh, we have Fragilis too. There are so many Agaricea species. Oh my god. Aphra. I saw a couple of these. You see them every now and then. They're somewhat easy to identify because they look like a burnt pancake, especially these photos. And you can't see that. You can't see that. This is driving me nuts. Fragilis. We moved on to Fragilis. Looks like a burnt pancake. So it's fairly easy to identify in the wild. You don't see it super often though. At least I don't recall. Often enough. We'll stick it in C tier. Because the burnt pancake look, eh. Easy to identify, not the prettiest. Keep on moving. Oh, wait, what is tiger? Hold on, hold on. Detour. What is tiger? Tiger, so this is Agaricea, Agaricides, and Fragilis. They have stripes. Oh, that's really pretty. That's really pretty. Huh. Okay. Anyhow, got Helioceras cuculata, formerly Leptoceras. Looks pretty similar to our Fragilis, right? Or even, yeah, kind of like our Fragilis. Kind of looks like the pancake, burnt pancake here. Oh, it even okay. I swear I forgot. Like they do these comparisons. So Helioceras and Fragilis, that thin saucer shape like a pancake, but the coralites face outward from the shelf. So if we zoom in on this one, the polyps are facing away. So we go the same direction as the photo here, away from like the growth pattern. And so I guess Fragilis, they're kind of on top or inwards. Okay. Oh, upward. Okay, they described it as upward. Cool. Come on, zoom back in for me, please. There we go. This makes it harder. I don't know, because it looks like Fragilis and it can make identification harder. Cuculata is going to also go into D tier. Okay. Ooh, next up, we've got the Porites genus. Starting with Porites asteroides, past. The mustard hill coral. So unlike a lot of Porites species, these will form like a super yellowy mustard color. What's cool is they've been fairly hardy over time. You find them a lot in shallow water, I noticed this a lot in the Virgin Islands. Long time ago. Long time ago. I don't know nowadays. But they seem to be doing okay. Tons of studies with parietes as well. They're still studied a lot. So they're gonna get an A tier from me. Maybe S tier? Cool name, cool abbreviation, cool color. It's really like a vibrant yellow. A tier. A tier. Then we've got the branching parietes. Parietes furcata, divaricata. Makes identifying fun. Parietes, usually these thick fingers, thick finger corals. Super fuzzy when their polyps are out, which is fun to see. Sometimes this yellowy color, other times like a bluish purple. Especially when they're retracted, it's like a purpley color. Good for the reef as well. We're going to give them a B tier. Solid, right in the middle, doing a good job. Then we've got furcata. So it bifurcates, or yeah, it branches off from each other. A little thinner than parietes, which I kind of like. I kind of like the thick ones of parietes. So I think furcata, I'm going to be a little mean, and I'm going to put them in C tier. Same with divaricata. And they're kind of oddballs in that you find them in seagrass beds, like you see in the photo. You don't see this. You don't see this at all. You don't see this. Ugh. I got to get better at working OBS. I got to get better at working OBS. So divaricata, kind of an oddball. It likes to hang out in seagrass beds a lot of the time, which makes it somewhat easy to identify if you see it in seagrass. It's probably divaricata. But what's it doing over there? What's it doing over there? So I might give that one C or D. Oddball. I'm gonna ostracize it a little bit and put it in D tier. Okay, we're almost there. I've got 12 minutes to knock this out. Can we do it? Next up, Madrasis Scenaria or Madrasis Scenaria. The yellow ones. The super yellow ones. I don't recall really seeing this that often. Oh, kind of looks like Owen. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Especially this photo up here. But it's not Orbicella. But it's not Orbicella, so it's not going to get an A tier. C. C tier. But next up, Decactus, M-Dec, pencil coral. Yeah, it kind of looks like parietes a little bit. I'll even zoom in a little more there. I have a weird. I like Decactus. I like seeing it, seeing all the yellow, like the yellow. It's very vibrant. Um, Although it's not always yellow. You can see some darker ones here. I like running into Decactus. Wait. Oh, I'm mixing it up with Mauer. Oh, okay. Never mind. It wasn't Decactus that I was thinking of. Decactus can also join the C tier. Orotenra, on the other hand, I'm going to date myself here a little bit. I knew it. I was introduced to this species as Madrisis muriabilis. So I know one of Anna's favorite things about biology is that taxonomy changes. And I have now been in this field long enough where there are many changes that have been made. And I know the old version, which makes it interesting. But I liked seeing Orotenra because it's very yellow. It's the yellow pencil coral, often really, really fuzzy or looks like Cheetos. That one, but it's not, like a superstar. So I'm going to give it a B tier. Expand the B tier to a third level. It's a good thing we got rid of that F then. Oculina. Kind of ugly. Not going to lie. Chemistry doesn't change the name of molecules. Just saying. Really? Never? Do you never change? I mean, some of them, like, I get you don't, yeah, you never change the name. But is there no, like, chemical taxonomy where things have changed or been rearranged? I guess electrons just behave the way they do, and then you just have to, they're not going to change. As there's no DNA. I mean, like the base level, like the atoms and their arrangement. So I guess you don't see changes in structure over time. Meanwhile, you go through different methods for biology, used to do visual inspections, visual identification, or with corals, we do like a skeletal analysis. And then now we're in this age of DNA, molecular genomics. And now we're like, oh, these things are actually more related. Meanwhile, bacteria, we still don't know what to do with. Yeah, okay, I can see that with chemistry. Oculina, though, people talk about it a lot. I don't know why. I can't. Is there some special trait that I forgot about? Maybe this is it. They lack symbionts. You get these white patches where they're not colonized. I don't know, but kind of a weird. Oh, you can't see that. Hang on, hang on. I'm on it. I'm on it. Uh, Weird coral. Oh, that one's getting a D tier. If we still had F tier, I'd probably put it in F tier. I feel like Dr. Parkinson wouldn't like me for that because I feel like he likes Oculina. I don't know. Um, oh, that was diffusa and then robusta. This one looks a little better. It's like if Dichocenia became a branching coral. We'll give robusta a shot. Whoop. We'll put robusta in C tier. I like the branching and the color. It's unique. All right, almost there. We've got Cladocera arbuscula. Haha. uh, I don't know. I'm kind of. I don't run across. I don't come. I don't see these ones often. But kind of funky. Oh, and in this photo, this is cool. Okay, this is cool. So I talked a little bit about this with Montastria cavernosa. When they're juveniles, the polyps will fluoresce orange. This is what it kind of looks like. This is a Siderastria, juvenile Siderastria. Its polyps are fluorescing. Super cool. Super cool. And it is that vibrant in real life. It's not like a doctored photo. It's that pretty. Kind of a funky looking coral. Honestly, the name I'm really into. It sounds like a Harry Potter spell. Cladocera arbuscula. But I don't run across it that much. We're between B and C. It's not the prettiest one either. It's pretty in its own way. C tier. All right. And what kind of coral restoration scientists would we be? What kind of coral restoration scientists would we be if we did not finish the tier list with the acroporids? So we're going to do that. Acropora palmata, the elkhorns, very susceptible, really damaged from bleaching events. Beautiful underwater, can form these massive colonies. It's like the size of a small car. Gorgeous, wonderful color, excellent 3D structure for reef habitat. I feel like I'd probably get ostracized from the community if I didn't put it in A or S tier. That being said, they're tricky. They're tricky corals to keep alive. Very difficult. Ooh, I might need help with this one, guys. A or S tier. It's a Caribbean classic. We are in the Caribbean classics. Really important ecologically. Very beautiful, but can be tricky to keep alive. Did that just glitch? I hope not. A for Acropora. If it's Caribbean, I say S. These are all Caribbean corals. These have all been Caribbean corals, and I don't know enough about Pacific ones. All of my work has been done in the Keys and the Caribbean. Well, half of my PhD was in Okinawa, but that was on sediment. It wasn't on specific species of coral. We were looking for bacteria in the sand. But okay, where did it go? Oh, Palmata will go in S tier. It will. Tragic story. Kind of a cool name. Very beautiful to see. Tricky to keep alive, but we're doing our best to keep it alive. So we'll put it in S tier. Acer, Cervicornis. You can't see that. You can't see that. I'm sick of. Okay, I think I'm done with technology for today. I've had enough problems with it. Cervicornis. If Palmata's in S tier, Cervicornis has got to be in S tier. And also, I studied Cervicornis. That was a full-on chapter in my dissertation. It's a good thing to research with, besides the fact that they also like to die. Um, they're pretty. They're awesome. They're a big reason why I got into this field. A little easier to choose that one, especially since we already did Palmata. And last but not least, the actual love child of Palmata and Cervicornis. So we talked about our other corals. I'm like, oh, it looks like a love child of A and B. Well, Prolifera is the love child of Palmata and Cervicornis. It is a hybrid between the two. And it looks like a hybrid. It looks like halfway in between a Palmata and a Cervicornis. That's actually A Pro right there. I'm not comparing to cervicornis. Now you can see the cervicornis up top. And then you'll have the large kind of flatter of the palmata. And so you get these like flattish branches. Fun to see. It's kind of fun to spot in the wild. Sometimes in the wild, you can't tell if it's actually a prolifera or a palmata or a cervicornis. And some evidence would suggest that it may not even be, there's something about it. It's like it may not even be that distinct. I don't know. There's cool stuff about prolifera, and I want to learn more about it. So that's going to go S tier as well. Boom. Right at 230. Boom. We did it. 44 Caribbean coral species ranked on a tier list. Let's get that full screen. 44 Caribbean coral species ranked on looks, names, ecological importance, how well they are to keep alive, what they're doing for the reef. And we did a pretty decent job balancing out. We have most of them in B and C tier. So we're, trying to, where the most common are. And then our A and S tier, there should be fewer. Got some special cases. A lot of the ones in S tier are biased towards my opinions. But this was just supposed to be fun. This was just supposed to be a fun little project. I do have this template if you want to fill it out yourself. I'll provide the link at some point. I'll put it on the community forum. I'll probably post it on social media as well. So you can either start from scratch like we did here, or I can also put this and you can rearrange it how you wish, what you think it actually should be. If you do decide to do this yourself, definitely compare it to mine. I want to see the differences. Be sure to tag us in anything on it. Last thing I'll say, yes, we gave Dendrogyra its own tier because it's Dendrogyra. Cool name, beautiful coral, tragic story, and it's making its comeback. I have hope. I have hope for Dendrogyra. Hope we see more of them. But let's go back to my face. I think that's all I have for us today. Thanks everyone for coming out. It wasn't as much heated debate besides Stephanicinia. Poor Stephanicinia, sorry. But maybe this will spark some further debate later on when I go to post this tier list on social media as is. These were just my opinions. There's nothing objective about it. But cool. Alrighty, folks, I'm going to sign off here. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for coming out, and I'll catch you on the next one. I don't think I have any other announcements, so I'm going to sign off here. Take care, everybody, and bye-bye.